Okay.
Right. So if we just talk through each of the therapies, so I'll just introduce and say, okay, can you just tell me a little bit more about it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I just thought it'd be really good if we can go through, because for quite a lot of people, these would be therapies that maybe people haven't heard about before.
Yeah.
So the first one, that's the first one you ever mentioned to me, is the PEMF mats.
Yeah.
So a little bit of detail, please.
So the therapies that we will be using at Flow Yorkshire to help regulate the nervous system and reduce inflammation, which are the two really key areas for our focus in helping people to regulate and optimize their way of life and their way of being. Pulse electromagnetic field therapy was just a mind-blowing revelation for me. I was so excited about it. So it's essentially what it is it's a mat. You can get them as seat mats or full body mats, but within them, the technology enables our bodies to connect with the Earth's energy. And so we are all earthlings, and therefore we have an inherent relationship with Mother Earth. But because of the modern world now, we are less and less connected to Mother Earth. Partly because we live in this electronic soup, and partly because we're wearing rubber-soled shoes. We're just not earthing, basically, anymore. We're like walking antennae, and our whole energy system is being bombarded by all of these other kind of negative energies. So pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is very positive earth energy. So when somebody lies on a PEMF mat or sits on a PEMF mat or connects with one, what it does is it connects us with our earth energy through technology such as copper, amethyst, magnets, etc., etc. I'm not an engineer, so I can't entirely explain all of that to you, but I know it works because I use it. So you're basically connecting with the Earth's energy, and in doing so, Mother Earth, in her almighty wisdom, the way we were designed, is she's clearing out all the toxic energy from our cells, which is what she was doing when we were all hunter-gatherers running in our bare feet. Even when we started wearing leather-soled shoes, it was still happening because leather's a conductor, so we were still picking up our energy. But as soon as we started wearing rubber-soled shoes, we literally were not connecting, unless we were actually touching a plant or hugging a tree or standing barefoot. So we're now all carrying this build-up of toxic energy in our system. So the PEMF mats relieve the body of this toxic build-up of negative energy, which in itself reduces inflammation. And inflammation is at the root of all illness.
Because I'd heard that was it developed in the 50s to do with space travel? Because it was,
exactly that.
Space travelers.
Yeah,
astronauts. That's the word I'm looking for. Astronauts coming back from space and having really bad problems with their immunity and fatigue and their muscles and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so NASA, thankfully, have validated this science. In fact, they came up with it, as you say, in the 50s, so decades ago. It's been around for a long time. I don't know why we're only just learning about it now in the public arena. But in any event, what NASA discovered was that when their astronauts spent extended periods of time up in space, they really weren't doing very well health-wise. They were losing bone density and muscle mass, and their immune systems were just not good. And so they were trying to figure out why. And the reason why was that they were leaving the Earth's atmosphere. And so the Earth's atmosphere is offering everything we need, of course, to live here well on Earth. Mm-hmm. We are Earthlings, Nothing makes us exempt of that need. And I think the other lovely thing about, although neurodiversity and dysregulation is very challenging for everybody, but I do believe it's come into the world at this time to wake us all up and to make some significant changes. So those souls who've come in like this are the really brave warrior souls that are helping us with our evolution.
Yeah.
And so we're going back now to, okay, so this science helps us. So this is what we need because our everyday lives don't do what our bodies need. So we're going to lie on these mats and we're going to reduce inflammation. We're going to get the lovely earth energy. We're going to increase circulation, and we're going to release energy from the mitochondria, the center of our cells, which is just really useful energy that our body can then use. So as soon as you start reducing inflammation, the nervous system starts to calm down, and then we can just start thriving and functioning.
Okay. And what about Neurosonic?
So Neurosonic is a nervous system reset modality using sound and vibration. And so we are all frequency. all our bodies are moving at different frequencies. And the way I like to explain that is that, you know, you and I resonate because we're of a similar frequency. But, you know, we don't resonate with everybody. You know, some people really, really, really dislike each other. And some people really, really, really love each other. And it's because we're all at unique frequencies, and some frequencies match and some don't. So what science is now proving is that the frequency of thought and sound and light and color and smell and all of those things impact our health. So Neurosonic it's essentially a bed that you lie on, which is like a very comfortable mattress, really. And the experience is that you put some headphones on that will play the music that is creating the vibrations through the bed.
Right, okay.
So the music is harmonizing with the vibrations that are running through the bed. And just literally the sensation of those vibrations, very low tone vibrations that are being felt very mildly by the body, has a wonderful impact on the nervous system. And the nervous system just starts to drop into that rest and repair state.
Right, okay. And how is the Neurosonic different to neuromodulation?
So neuromodulation is also a nervous system reset, but it is much more targeted and it's much deeper. So the Neurosonic is an easier, more accessible experience for everybody. All of them are non-invasive, but the neuromodulation is a much more complex science, and it is accessing not just the autonomic nervous system, but also the central nervous system. And it's a much more sophisticated science in that it targets particular areas of challenge. So the experience of the neuromodulation is you sit in a nice, relaxing leather chair, reclining with your feet up. If you're an adult, for a child, we've got a nice big corduroy beanbag with footstool. And you have little gloves and little foot gloves as well with electrodes on them. And we will be running very, very, very light microcurrents through these electrodes. And in a very sophisticated program, lots of different programs designed to basically calm the nervous system. But what we would do with clients is we would build up to that, or an adult might just want to go straight into that. It isn't necessary to build up, but for a child, they might want to use some of the lighter, more slightly fun things to do. But once you get to the neuromodulation stage, that's when you're really, really making a difference, because it's brain entrainment. It's, so for example, some children that are dysregulated might have weak bladder control, so they might be wetting the bed beyond the bedwetting years, for example. And that's usually a state of anxiety. And so that with the neuromodulation, while we're calming the nervous system, we can also target bladder strength and the communication system between the bladder and the brain and things like that. So,
right. Fabulous. And what about red light therapy? Is that separate to the PEMF?
It can be, or we can do them together. Okay. So we are going to couple. We can do both, but basically, when we are finally set up in the centre, in general, there'll be a PEMF mat on a therapy bed and a big red light panel above.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you're sort of sandwiched in between the two of them. Right. Well, not really. There's plenty of distance, but so the red light is coming down, and the PEMF has a 2-meter radius. So once you're lying on the mat, it's all around you. And actually, the red light and the PEMF are doing similar things in that they're improving circulation and releasing the energy from the cells and reducing inflammation and all of that kind of thing.
Reduce your wrinkles, won't it?
Well, I mean, actually, red light's been around. It's been around in beauty for a long time. Yeah, it's been in the beauty world for a long, long time. So when you have the red light and the PEMF together, it's the most sublime experience. So you lie down and you've got this lovely heat above you, and you've got a very, very mild vibration going on the mat. And it's amazing how quickly the mind switches off. So you're lying there and you think, oh, this is nice and comfortable. This is nice and warm. But the mind's still chattering. And certainly my experience is that within about 10 minutes, it's almost like a switch has switched the nervous system to down-regulate. And so you're just literally, you fall asleep.
Right.
It's just really, really nice. And it's 20 minutes. Yeah. It's not long.
Okay. And how many times a week would you have that, ideally?
I mean, again, we think we're recommending 3 times a week. 3 times a week, yeah. So what we'll be doing is we'll be layering the modalities when people come in, so to save them on time and traveling time and stuff like that. So we would probably suggest that they do. You'll get the maximum benefit out of all the therapies if you always start with the PEMF.
Right, okay.
So for the children, for example, whatever they'll be doing will have a PMF mat under anything that they're sitting on. So they're getting it anyway.
That's great because they're not having to opt into a treatment really, are they, at that point?
They're not even aware of it.
Yeah.
They're not even aware of it. They're just sitting in a beanbag doing whatever they're doing. But we would definitely recommend the PMF and the red light for at least 10, if not 20 minutes before maybe going into the neuromodulation chair for the electrodes. And then when I say electrodes, it sounds intimidating. It's really not. It's really not. You just feel incredibly relaxed.
Right.
And low and slow is the approach with all of these modalities. So if you do the PMF and the red light before you do anything else, you're oxygenating your cells and you're oxygenating your blood, which really means that everything else can be absorbed and your body will respond better. Okay.
And then you've got light and sound. Is that David's Delight?
Light and sound therapy. Delight, yeah. Which is for adults and children, but we've invested in it primarily for children because it's quite fun.
Right.
And we just want them to enjoy themselves when they come in. So we've got a great big egg chair that the kids can sit in, which is, swivels and all the rest of it. You can sit anywhere you're really doing it. You can lie down if you want to. But what we've envisaged for the children is that they might sit in the egg chair with the PMF under the cushion of the chair. And that is headphones and goggles. And through the headphones, there's some extremely calming medicinal music, like solfeggio frequencies, which are, healing frequencies. And there will be color and light passing through the goggles, not flashing, just passing through the goggles in harmony with the sound and the headphones. Right. And what that effectively does, and it's really fun, but what it does is it calms the nervous system and it stimulates the neural pathways to produce dopamine, which is what's lacking in ADHD and very often in autism as well. So what people always find after a session with the David's Delight, which has literally just been a fun session, is the recipient is a lot calmer.
I think we could all do with a bit of that in our lives.
I know.
And then you'll be teaching people sort of grounding techniques and things like that, so that it's not just going for treatment and there's a gap between treatment. It's really a lifestyle change for giving people the tools to
Absolutely,
make the best of this
absolutely,
treatment.
yeah. So to get the most sustainable outcome, this is a journey. It's a journey of learning and growth and healing and optimizing. And honestly, my true belief is that when people come through Flow Yorkshire, they will come out the other side utterly transformed and they will see the world very differently and they'll be empowered. Because I think what's happening at the moment when people are given a diagnosis and families are dealing with confusion and explosions and, we're walking on eggshells and we don't know what the hell's going to our family, what's happened. We feel very alone and very in the dark and very confused. I think when they come to Flow Yorkshire, they will have an understanding of what is going on and why. And then they will be empowered to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And then it's just not so confusing and it's actually quite an easy fix, really. But yeah, we'll be asking them to maybe think about having some cold showers occasionally,
right?
And maybe standing with their feet on the grass and thinking about the food they're eating, live, real food that nourishes the body. And there'll be lots of tips and tools.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I really cannot wait. This feels like we're birthing a child that has been in the making for a really long time, but it's going to be superhuman, this child.
Well, no, I mean, obviously I've, followed your journey over the last few years and actually just to see how it's developed, like the final, I guess it's not even a final thing, is it? It'll evolve.
It'll keep evolving. Yeah. And I feel really, really happy about this because it's making sense of our journey. It's a giving back and a paying forward, and it's honoring Finn's journey and Luke's journey and us as a family. And, I always knew that I always had a feeling that this intense experience that we had as a family was not just to trip us up and make life difficult. There was something birthing.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to make all of this available on a charity basis to people. But I tried to set up a charity a few years ago, and my goodness, it's complex. Mm-hmm. So much red tape around it, and the do's and don'ts and can and can't do's. And I just thought, there must be another way. So I just carried on with other things. And then this private members association sort of vehicle became an option. And by then I'd become a therapist, and this seems like a natural extension. And my husband's equally enthusiastic because he's very keen on well-being and does his breath work every day and his sauna and his cold water and stuff.
Fabulous.